1, 2, 3. Assalamu alaikum. Subhan Rahim here. Messenger of the Covenant. Breaker of the 7 seals. Welcome. Still working out some technical difficulties, brothers and sisters, so bear with me. As I picked up a little allergy. Anyway, brothers and sisters, devils, demons, and dogs. The wrath of God. So we're going to be talking about, brothers and sisters. I'm going to try to keep it brief because I'm still working on some things. Like I said, I got this little allergy here. So, see how that works out. So I'm going to talk about a few things. Well, let me get started here. Okay. Devils, demons, and dogs. Okay, brothers and sisters. The world is not ready for what's about to happen. It's not ready. Has no clue. 99.9% of the world has no clue about what's happened. No clue whatsoever. No clue. Angel says at least 1/3 of mankind will be destroyed. That's symbolic. It's going to be more than that. Be more than like 4/5. If there's 8 billion people on the planet, be lucky to be 1 billion left when all is said and done. They have no idea what's about to happen. Especially European countries have no idea about what's to hit them. No idea whatsoever. Time of unprecedented trouble. Time of Jacob's trouble. He be delivered out of it. It says, pray that you be found worthy, right, to escape all these things. And really, brothers and sisters, you want to escape. You don't want any part of it. You don't want any part of it, but most of you are going to be right in the middle of it. And it's, no one wanted to do this job of warning you and raising you and all the different things that has to be done and the battles that has to be taken. Because this is the day of God's wrath. I mean, it's terrible. It's a terrible day. It says none like it in all creation. And you have no clue. Even those that work with me, they have no clue. They really don't understand what's about to happen. They're not ready. They may think they're ready, not ready. Man. I've been on the post for 30-some years, alone. It said he would walk alone, and when you look at the situation, you say, what the hell? I mean, look at it. You don't understand. See? It says, that lamb, you got to read that carefully. That Suleiman, that lamb. He's the only one who would do this. None of the scientists want to do it. Even Master Muhammad did not want to do this. He passed off to Elijah Muhammad. No one wanted to handle this job on the ground. No one wanted to do it. None of the scientists want to do it. No one wanted to do it. And it says he would have to take on the entire world. His family, they would go against him, right? He'd have to fight Elijah's army, who is supposed to support him, right? But they're one of his biggest distractors, biggest opposition, because they actually warned against him, because they're plagued by demons. So what Elijah did, it tells you that that's why he was not allowed to go in the promised land, because he failed that mission. He failed to point out, because he was supposed to pass it over to Messenger of the Covenant. He did not. So now that's opposition. So soon I had to fight against that. See, so that's the Levites and the demons. I always talk about the demons, but if you look at mark and everything, it's the Levites too. Because the Levites are plagued by demons. And so the whole Elijah's army, because they're not, he's standing with me, they're opposing me. So the army he built, it would be better off he had not built an army. Because it's not helping me, it's not helping his cause, and they're as blind as they can be. And Elijah said, and we had the presentation, he was only given enough knowledge to go 40-some years. That means his knowledge would end after 40-some years. So why are you still referring back to what he's talking about? When he said, Master Muhammad only gave him a knowledge the last 40-some years. And that's when Master Cunning would show up and take from there. But you don't want to hear it, because you wasn't following Elijah Muhammad. You're not, because if it was about truth, then you'd be standing here, but you're not. You're liars. And I witnessed that because before Elijah Muhammad was out of focus, you was already bad mouth. He turned against him. Farrakhan included, he was the biggest one. So he got to fight against his family. They're against him, right? Against the demons, against the Levites, right? There's 2 Levite prophets, but they're not ready. They're not even close. How you know they're not ready? Because they have 2 books. Have they mastered those books? That's how you know they're ready. If they have not mastered those books, they're not ready. Because that's what makes them ready. That's how you know they're ready. When they master the books they've been given. So if they master the book, they're ready. They have not, then that means they're ready. They don't understand it that way. That's the qualification. Have you mastered those 2 books? If you have not, you're not ready. What's about to hit? And the less you know of it, the worse it is. Because you can't accomplish your mission if you don't have the tools to accomplish your mission. And those books you was getting. So that's left to Suleiman also to deal with the Levites. Because they were supposed to deal with the Levites. So he's got to deal with the demons. Right? He's got to deal with the Levites, his family. We ain't talking about the devils yet. He got to deal with them. He got to overcome all of that. See? Then he's got to carry prophets on his back. That's just right here. Then he's got to deal with the Antichrist, false Israel, Gog and Magog. Then it says, right, it says those 10 kings, that's China and India, so they'll make war with the Lamb. He overcomes, so he got to fight with them. And he's by himself. He's doing this all by himself. Because no one else want to do it. And the weapon that was necessary, right, they didn't want to make the sacrifice effort, right, to get those weapons. That's the angel. That's why it says no one was worthy. It didn't say able, worthy. Because everybody's able, but they didn't want to make the sacrifice to be worthy to break those seals. No one in the heavens or earth, not the gods, not the scientists, not the angels, no one. I don't want to deal with that. Nah, I don't want that job. They was all able, just wasn't worthy. And to do it, he says, he looked as though he was slain from the foundation of the earth. He just sliding through last Sunday trying to explain that. And that's the weight he has on his shoulders. He don't need to be carrying anybody. That's additional weight. Because you have to carry or push someone, right? That's additional weight. So, I mean, they really helping the devil's cause. That's why I said he walked alone. He said he looked around, there was no one to help. He said, tread the winepress alone. Then after he accomplished all that, then he passed over to Master Muhammad. Master Muhammad didn't give it to him. Didn't give it to Elijah. He says, Sulaiman gave it to him after he accomplished all those things. Ancient of Days. Why do they call him Ancient of Days? You ever think about that one? He's that little gear trying to turn the whole gear by himself. Doesn't have any help. Has no help. He has one help. That's Master Muhammad. Because read Daniel, right? It says Gabriel came to him with a message from Master Muhammad. Because he was the only one. He says Gabriel came. He says he's at war with Persia. That's mean America. So you understand Daniel. Persia and America. They think Persia's Iran. No, Persia's talking about America there in Daniel. So there's no one to help him but Michael or Master Muhammad. And he comes to Daniel or Sulaiman with a special message, personal message from Master Muhammad. And you see, Daniel or Sulaiman has 3 Levite prophets there with him. Some say Meshach, and Abednego, but they never do anything. You don't see them doing anything in Daniel. They're there. They're in the pit with him. They don't do anything. So he walks his triumph wine press alone. Because this is equivalent to the first God in the center of the universe, center of earth, under total pressure of the universe, It was totally compressed. He's there alone for, nobody knows how long he was there. Some say 1,000,000 years, some say 1,000 years, some say 1,000,000,000. They don't know. Because there was no sun, anything to tell time. They don't know how long he was there. In total triple darkness. And he had to ignite the universe and get it going and lay the foundation all alone. No one to help. And we had the same thing on this side. No one to help. Okay? So I'm not looking for any help because over the years, right, help is always turns out to be a distraction or a burden. Because what it takes to help, people don't understand it. They ain't willing to make the sacrifice. They don't understand what sacrifice is. They did, they probably would run away anyway. They don't understand what it takes to make it happen. They don't have no idea what I've been through, and I don't talk about it because I'm just what's the point, right? It just makes I don't have time to talk about weakness and troubles, all the stuff I have. I ain't got time for that. See, sit around doing all that stuff I do. You be blowing your brains out. That's the situation, brothers and sisters. And so what's going to happen as a result of that? See? A lot of people will be destroyed. A lot of people, because hell is, it says the raging and roars of hell. Nothing like it ever. Unprecedented. And Sulaiman's here to protect you as much as possible from it. He can't protect all. He could, but you're not willing. So the mind, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. So man, you're going to have to experience it firsthand. That's your choice. But it won't go unnoticed and inconsequential because those people, these Levites, that's slack or lazy or don't want to do anything or resisting, it's going to be on them. Elijah's army. Your blood is going to be on their hands. And it will be on their hands. The demons already, they got their reward. They're going to just be wiped out. They won't get anywhere near the hereafter. They'll be wiped out by their daddies that they love so much. And we're going to talk about, I'm sure, a couple of presentations here, a couple of videos here, clips. You take a look at it. See, that's that demon thing. That's one of the things that really pisses me off, I tell you. Because these clowns, see, those are devils that got your face on. And so when people see them, they think they're seeing you. And they sick people. They're devils in blackface. And we know that devils are sick people. But they're trying to cover themselves up. CRT and all this stuff. They're sick people. They even recognize they're sick. That's why they're covering up. I mean, we give them that. At least they recognize it. We give them that a little bit. That's sure a little bit of humanity. But for 100 years, they didn't even recognize it. We was animals. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I mean, that was it. There was no question about it. It's in the Constitution. That means we were eating anything. And that's when we got the full treatment. Full treatment is disgusting. And brothers and sisters, if you try to tell you about Holocaust, brothers and sisters, they haven't even gave you the tip of the iceberg. Because we really talk about all the things that happen, you'd be sick. You'd be totally sick. You'd be sick for days. Your mind would be distorted. Your mind would be corrupted if you knew all the stuff that they did. No limits. You know how freakish they are right now under their law. What if they had you and no laws whatsoever? But you was animals. But why would you sleep with animals? That makes you give the bestiality. Jefferson, Washington, their so-called heroes are disgusting creatures. Disgusting. Worse than pig shit. Pig shit is a big step up for them. And I'm not trying to be funny, but I'm telling you. They make pig shit look like diamonds. It's no end to the evil of these folks. No end to it. And they can walk around and smile and all that stuff they want to do, all that kind of stuff. You buy it if you want to. Many of you do buy it. Some of you are just out of fear. Some of you just out of ignorance. And some of you just, you're like out of ignorance. Because you was programmed as robots not to ask questions, not to think. Because if you did one half an hour of thinking, you would not have anything to do with these folks. Because how are you going to tell me that all the stuff did to us was under the banner of the cross? Under the banner of the cross. And he says, and then all the stuff they did in Jesus' name? Under the banner of the cross, you're going to tell me that's the right religion, that these people know we're righteous God? And then that's logic right there just gets you. The logic right there just gets you, because if that's the way God rolls and Jesus rolls, then what's the problem with Satan? See, if you do anything at all, you would stop that crap. And every time you watch these stupid movies, right, they always got Negro with a cross around his neck. Don't do any white movies. Always make sure you got a cross around his neck. And it was a bad movie by some people doing white stuff, so-called slave movies. They always got a white person there that's a savior. So, see, like in Django, right, the one guy, that's all bullshit. Because that shows you that they ain't all bad. That's just some bad. And it was really a good one, a Jesus in there to save you. It's all bullshit. Every movie is like the same pattern. Same pattern. Right? What was that one? 3 days a slave or something? 12 years slave, whatever? We had Brad Pitt. He was a savior in that one. You see? They always have one, because see, we ain't all bad. No, you're all bad. The scripture say all you bad. Says there's none righteous, not one. So God's a liar, Jesus is a liar, the legend's a liar. Listen, Farrakhan, he don't make him good. Well, that one's not a devil. That shows right here he's a devil. Because he called God liars. God says none of them are righteous, not one. But if I know some of them are. So he called Nasrallah Muhammad a liar. He called Elijah Muhammad a liar. He called the scripture a liar. He called the science a liar. He called everybody a liar because he's an effing liar. All of them are no damn good. Scripture says that. None of righteous, none not one. Remember stood about Sodom and Gomorrah? Abraham couldn't find one. He said, if you could just find one righteous in there, I'll save him. He couldn't find one. There's not one in America. They smile every day because they get what you got. See, they can't really smile at the Native Americans where the Native Americans right now. See, they kept fooling them. But you keep on mind that. Because see, the thing is, your ignorance, your willful ignorance, there's a consequence to that. Because you already got you already paid for the reward, but now you pissing it off, you pissing it away. Because your willful ignorance, there's a consequence to everything. So since you're willfully ignorant, right, then you have to suffer the consequence of your ignorance, right? Which is, if you willfully ignorant, that thing over there is really a wolf in sheep clothing, you're willfully ignorant, there was consequence. You end up being wolf shit. See? Because you're willfully ignorant, so now you know. Now you're not ignorant anymore. You gotta understand the consequence. If you're willfully ignorant, then you pay the price. Mom is Negro, right? Female. And she was from back east somewhere, right? And she didn't want to be around black folks. She had a couple of sons, right? So she gonna move around white folks. See, she's smart, right? She went to Dakota or someplace in the world white folks are, you know. And she went out there, some white folks' town. She was the only one out there. So her kids were playing with the white kids, and they was out in the bushes or forest, wherever they was, right? And the white kids hung her children. Hung them. And she could not understand what happened there. Okay? Couldn't understand what happened there. Willfully ignorant. So now she understands they devils. That's the consequence of it. Now she understands it. Now she had to pay because of willful ignorance. Okay? So your willful ignorance will be corrected. Because you had to go to tribulation where you will find out they're really devils. Then you will come to, because you can't be willfully ignorant. Everything is mathematics. And you can't miscalculate. You can't say 5 plus 5 is 49. Because there's going to be a question. Say 5 plus 5 is 49, right? Then there's a consequence of 6 that you're missing that you have to pay for. You have to cover the 6. That's the consequence. So you're willfully ignorant, that's the same thing. Willfully ignorant, that means you just have balance on both sides because there's truth over there and you willfully ignorant. So you saying, they said, here's 50, and you said, well, that's 45. You're willfully ignorant. Because you know it's 50, but you say it's 45. So now you got to come to 5 to pay it, to balance it out. That's willful ignorance. And you got a lot of people out there willfully ignorant. Everybody's following Farrakhan, let's say demons, even the demons, they're all willfully ignorant. But the demons don't have any choice. They're all willfully ignorant. Because they know he's not teaching like Muhammad's teaching. They're willfully ignorant. So they're going through tribulation. That's it. Everybody's going to bear witness to Suleiman. How are they going to bear witness? Because everybody bear witness, right? That means everything's going to be balanced out. Everything, you go both sides. So some have to go tribulation to bear witness. Have to go tribulation to bear, oh yeah, he was right. So everybody's going to be, do you want to read between the lines? I tried this all mathematics. They're saying, everybody, why do they say that? Because if you're willfully ignorant, then you have to pay a price for being willfully ignorant. That's tribulation. That's tribulation. Wait for all you willfully ignorant people. Because you're going to come out and say, yep, he was right. Because it has to be balanced. Because you're going to have to see the devils close up where you can't be ignorant anymore. Right? When they catching your children and eating them. Cutting them up and eating them. That's what the scriptures say. Then your willful ignorance will be balanced out. Because you won't be ignorant anymore. I try to explain to you, brothers and sisters. See? I'm walking alone. I'm doing my job. I've been doing it for 30-some years. Ain't been easy, and ain't a job that I love. I don't want to. I would pass off too if I could find somebody to pass off to. Nobody wanted this. And the whole story about Jesus being crucified. That's not just talking about Suleiman, that's also talking about the original people. The analogy is talking about the original people also. Crucified, put to death. Wait for Elijah. That's why they said call out for Elijah. Wait for Elijah, lift him up. Elijah couldn't lift him up. And be Suleiman lift him up. Elijah, he tried, he couldn't. He could lift up the Levites, but then what happened? They wasn't really lifted up. I mean, yeah, he lifted them up, but if you lift something up right, you don't can stay up as long as you're holding it up. That's why I'm not lifting up anybody. I'm telling you the truth. I tell you, I'm not going to carry you, whatever. I tell you the truth, and you have to take and to do something with it. I'm not going to carry you. A lot of people over the years come. No, I said, look, I give you the knowledge. Now, I step back and see what you're going to do with it. You're going to put the energy in. You see what I'm doing? I'm setting an example. You can't look back and say, I'm not setting an example. I'm giving 100%. That's where it is, brothers and sisters. That's just where it is. So you're worth it, you're going to pay the price. So all those folks with that fire company, they both ignorant. Because there's no way in the world they can say, read the lessons and say that this is this is Elijah Muhammad's teachers. I don't care what he said. They can't know it. They look at and read the books and watch, look what's on the on YouTube, whatever, and say no. So they want to go along with that fantasy, fine, they're gonna pay for it. You don't want to call devils anymore. You're gonna be calling the devils in a minute. Eating your butt or eating your family or your family member or somebody, then you're going to call them devils. You want to bear witness to Suleiman. You want to witness the truth. You want to bear witness 100%. Okay? So they think, oh, I'm looking for followers. I never asked for followers. I don't have any. I don't want any. And those people that say they want to work with me, I don't call them followers. If they followers, I don't want them. I tell them I give them truth now. They got to step and do something with it. I ain't looking for followers. Said 144,000 will follow everywhere he went, but you don't understand what that means. It means they kept up with him. They kept up with him. Followers follow behind you. I'm not looking for followers. I look for followers, then why did I turn everything over to Master Muhammad? But I look for followers. When I got it all, I give it to him. We ain't followers. That's that devil stuff. That's Farrakhan stuff for followers stuff. Elijah Muhammad had followers, but that was a whole different situation because he had a job to do. He did the best he could. I'm not knocking him. He didn't complete his mission. I'm not knocking him. I still praise the man. But he didn't complete his mission. But the point is, he was like a drink of clean water. Because I was walking around the wilderness until I ran into him in 1970. And that's the first time I drank some clean water. The first time I heard anybody made sense. So I'm not gonna forget that experience. He carried the water. He didn't complete his mission, right? But give me some clean water when I need it. That's to me, I'll never forget that. I'll never forget the people that do shit in that water after he departed too. I ain't gonna never forget that either. Levites, Farrakhan. I ain't forgetting that either. He said, are you hard on the Levites? I'm not hard on the Levites. I'm just not concerned with them. I'm concerned with Tribe Shabazz. The Levites, they got Master Muhammad. They got 2 prophets. They got a prophetess, so why need to be worried about them? If they can't handle it, that's on them. That's their people. I'm worried about Lazarus. But what I'm doing is going to benefit them anyway. But I don't want to be out the road to sow it, and you stand behind me. You stand behind me. I'm going to do the work. I'll say, you just stand behind. I ain't in for that. If you can't stand side, shoulder to shoulder, slay an enemy, then call yourself a warrior. Call yourself a demon slayer. Get the hell out the way. Now, since they get behind me, I will protect them. I always said that. I said it over and over again. They can get behind me. Some of these are some warriors, they don't want to get behind, they want to go out and do some kick ass too. That's all right. But they get behind me because I'm going to protect them. Now, the only thing I tell you had to accomplish, you think Farrakhan will accomplish that? The man's ass all blown up? Tell my God protects him. I don't want that kind of protection. He can't even walk, but yeah, he'll accomplish all these things I just told you. So Superman will accomplish miracles. One of the first miracles is finding Elijah at the right time. That was one out of nowhere. That's a whole nother story together. That's a miracle, right? Is the angel. That's a miracle itself. So he'll be a miracle worker. There's no such thing as miracles. Miracles just phenomena. Phenomena you just don't understand. That's what miracles are. It's mathematics that you just don't understand. It's like Matt from Muhammad's will. It's not a miracle. It's a phenomenon that you don't understand. So it's all mathematics. It's advanced that you don't understand. Then you gotta, and that's where he gets his help from, because you gotta them demons. He gotta, right? He gotta knock them out. And that's where Master Problem comes in, because he's going to break the pride of power. Pride, God can make us and the Antichrist power. When he does that, oh man, the doors of hell breaks open. Hell exposed clearly, like Christ said, clearly to view. Flames raging all over the planet. No one will escape. Only one will escape is those in the Lamb's Book of Life. They said, well, that's Jesus' Book of Life. Well, you can say whatever you want to say. In Lamb's Book of Life, you ain't in it. And you got to qualify to be in it. And if you ain't accomplished your mission, why would you be in it? You don't understand. See, people look at me, oh man, you hard. So you look at a coach. Man, you hard, yeah, but these people are winning. They win. But soft coach are people getting their ass kicked. If I tell you what you need to do to qualify, how is that rough, tough? That's being truthful and correct. If I tell you what you need to do to qualify, to make it, I knew what I had. When nobody gave me the angel, I found it. And when I got into it, I realized what I need to do to come out and accomplish my mission. I figured out myself. And so I put the effort in to do it. I know that if I didn't do it, I wouldn't be on time. I'd still be reporting stuff like Farrakhan after things happen. You understand? So I had to put the time and work, effort, engine to accomplish the mission. That's if I decided to take the mission. Nobody told me I had to take this mission. Nobody forced me. But the promise was given to them. And the one thing about scientists, they keep their word. They go get you. You're in trouble. They for you. Right? And so we keep our word. So the word was given that you would get this, that you get this help. And so that's why I'm because there's no breaking our word. We keep our word. So the word was given. I'm going to support it. So I'm giving my all. And what am I supposed to get out of this? I don't get anything out of this. I told you, I give it all to Master Muhammad that fair. So I'm not getting any money out of this. I'm not getting any houses. I'm not getting any mansions. I ain't asking anybody for any money. I'm doing this just for you. I mean, don't you understand that? He said he didn't have to do it. I told him to do it. He said he wouldn't done it on his own, and then he gives it all to Master Muhammad, so he ain't doing it for himself. He ain't doing it trying to be worshipped, because worship says the honey stays in the background. Like Muhammad told you, he stays in the background for 73 years. He just came out for this purpose right here. He's around, but you just don't know him. He keep it incognito. So get off this damn shit. With Farrakhan, they want their mansion and everything because they're demons. They want stuff. Give me money off. Because they rip you off. They make you pay to deceive them. So you deserve what you get. Remember I said, right, willfully ignorant? I'm not getting a damn thing out of this. Nothing. Because first of all, I don't even have to do this. If I want something out, I know where to go, get the hell out of here, and let you suffer. And I'll be in the promised land. I don't have to do this. I don't have to suffer any of this. Zero. And I ain't took a dime from anybody. I never asked anybody for a dime. Don't you read any stuff? I say, I give it all away. I ain't out trying to get anything from you. I'm trying to give you something. And I really can't give you anything. God has to nourish you what's in you. I'm trying to cultivate you, the knowledge of what's in you. Bring it out. Save your ass. I ain't talk that. Well, look, I'll talk that I want to talk. You ain't paying for it. But say, you get what you pay for, you ain't paying for. I talk what I want to talk. You like what I talk, the hell what you get to us. I'm going to try to save your life. I ain't got time to be bullshitting around, effing around. Hey, man, you got to be a tester, what was Tesla fortitude, and that's maneuvering. I ain't got time for that bullshit. Your life is at stake. Like I told somebody, I was in the military before I met Elijah Muhammad. If I had met Elijah Muhammad before, I never went in there. Right? I was trying to get out. I grew up in Newark. I had no parents. I was on my own, so I was trying to get on the streets. And so I was telling someone, I was in Vietnam, and I was telling someone, I said, you know something? If I'm out in the field and there's a firefight, and I got a cracker sergeant or officer, stone cold cracker, right? They all, like I said, all evil beginner, right? He said, hey, nigga, get down. Hey, nigga, get down. And I get down, and I miss a grenade or a bullet or something that was about to hit me if I hadn't got down. He said, I'm get mad because he called me a nigga? Thank you. I ain't gonna throw a bullet in him, but thank you. Care about he saved my life. I don't care about that. You call me nigga all you want to. You better get real. Oh man, he called me a nigga and have your head blown off. I ain't gonna get down, man. He called me a nigga. Then he walk around with no legs and one eye. See? So you stick with these entertainers, these actors. Oh, hey, around here. Oh, and the language is so perfect. And Farrakhan said, oh, well, it's an adverb, right? And that's a noun. And you got to put a noun for it. Oh, man, F you, man. You know what I'm saying? You're going to take that shit to your grave. Got time for that bullshit. Brothers and sisters, you don't know it's about to hit you. And you ain't talking about a long time. It's going to hit you in days. And when it hits, it's going to hit hard and fast and cold. Emotionally caught up in it. Nobody told you about this family coming. Anybody mention family for me? This universal family is coming. It's primarily America, mostly America. Because America got everything they have, they stole. They cheated, they killed to get it. That means it's not theirs. So which means it has to be taken from them. If you take something out, you have to take it back. And say eye for eye, a tooth for a tooth. See, that's quality consequence. See, that's quality consequence. See, that's quality pressure. But quantity pressure is you go out there and knock somebody's eye out, right? You spend 5 years in jail or something. See, it's not opposite. It's equal. It may be equal, but it's not opposite. But opposite equal, right? Eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. That's opposite and equal. Opposite and equal. See? So we're going to be opposite equal to them. All the shit they did to us, right? Be down on them. And we're squeezing 1 year period. We don't waste time. We're going to waste 500 years with them. We'll squeeze it all into 1 year. See? Quality. Okay. Because we control, we give form to energy. That was it. What they give to you, give double. See, that's quality. That means give back to them the same thing they gave you, but give it double. Well, that's a little quantity in it too, right? But it's quantity. It's quality. It's quantity related to quality, right? It's a scalar of quality. Because it said, give back to what it gave to you. That's justice. That's quality. But justice comes in two forms. It can be quality or quantity, or be a combination of both. But it's consequence. It's going to still go what's on one side and the other side. So either 5 and 5 on this side, 5 on that side, or be 4 plus 1 on this side, 5 on that side, right? Or 10 divided by 2 on this side and 5 on this side. It's still, right? That's quality, that's quantity. But quality means it's 5 on this side, it's 5 on that side. If it's 7 on that side, it's 7 on that side. If it's 2 plus 3 on this side, it's 2 plus 3 on the other side. That's quality is the same, exact same. It's opposite. But if it's just equal, that's just 10 on this side, and it's, right, it's 11 minus 1 on that side. Or 8 plus 2 on that side. It's still equal, but it's not opposite. Hope you understand, brothers. That's why you need to say it, get it correct. So let's move on, brothers and sisters. Because there's a couple of videos I want clips, and it's one of them takes about 10 minutes, so I'll speak to you at the end of it. But this first one here, because this repeated what I did earlier, right? But I wanted to go and kind of like, I didn't get a comment, so I wanted to go give some, go ahead and do a do-over on it and redux. Hold on, where I'm at. Oops, what happened here? Okay, oops. Okay, well, that's the gear train again. So we're going to talk about that. There's Suleiman, that red small one. He's turning the whole world around by himself. He's causing all the stuff you see happening. But he's giving quality to it. Because if he wasn't giving quality to it, hell would break loose. But just burn everybody. The explosion just burn everybody. It's not a controlled explosion, just burn everybody. Blow away like a hurricane. Right? But he's creating a hurricane like he says, okay, get the house, but don't get the house. That's quality. I know some of you have noticed that, right? Hurricane come in, you look at it and say, some houses destroyed, some you say, why is that? Well, but anyway, that's what he's doing. Because just because his knowledge of mathematics, freshman is enough, right, to blow this whole thing up. See? That's a Suleiman, son of man, is in the center of earth, experimenting with high explosives. And explosive. See? But if you got the engine, that means it's controlled explosions. See? So blow up this, don't blow up that. Blow up this, don't blow up that. Control. See? So if he doesn't do that, that's what engine is, give you controlled explosions. Because if you don't do that, just blow up everything. So if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, you just get blown up. That's why Master Muhammad used to tell Elijah Muhammad this thing about a train. He said a train comes in like, I'm paraphrasing, 8 o'clock every day on the track, right? Comes at 8 o'clock every day on the track. That's fine. No problem. Come to this little town every day on the track. At 8 o'clock goes to the town, right? But see, when it comes in sideways, it wipes out the whole town. It still came in at 8 o'clock, but it wipes out the whole town. Because, see, he's talking about quality and quantity. Come on track, it's quality. It comes, right? It comes on sideways, that's quantity, right? It just wipes out everybody. And we don't want that. That's why Suleiman, that's why he had to have an angel to see who is who, because you can't be qualified if you don't know who is who. 99% you don't know who is who. You couldn't tell me what a demon was if it was your life depended on it. You couldn't tell me what the devil was, especially after Elijah Muhammad's gone. You can't tell who the Shia are. You can't tell who the Sunni are. You don't really know. You can't tell who the Jinn are. You can't tell who Antichrist is. You can't tell who God and Magog is. You can't tell who Jajal is. The angels. You don't know who God is. Oh, he's in everybody's womb making babies, according to Farrakhan. You don't know anything. You don't know hell is, heaven, you don't even exist. And angel reveals everything. That's why it's called revelations. That's one of the reasons. It reveals everything. Yeah. So that's what he's doing. So the quality keep blowing you up, brothers and sisters, because we'll blow up, this whole thing's going to be blown up. But I'm here to protect you But if you don't be protected, that's on you. I'm here to protect you from the wrath of God. Because you paid the price. Now it's up to you. Now you got some of these clowns over here with Farrakhan specifically, they think, oh man, they watching. See what happened because they on the fence, right? See if this war really gonna break out like I said. And when it does, they think, oh, run over here, you think that's gonna work for them? Because first question is, well, hey, you knew about it, you heard about it. And you just sit there waiting? There are all these people that's gonna be lost because you was basically hiding the truth. No, that's your blood in your hands. They think that's gonna work, but it's not gonna work. They said, what Quran says, they think they have an excuse. But no excuses. Like Muhammad says, no excuse in the law books of Islam. Did not accept any excuse from the FOI. None. Okay, brother, so let's move on here. Oh boys. Oh, there we go. Are we going the right way here? Oh. Let me Columbus Day. It's celebrate Columbus Day. They love Columbus, right? This is what Columbus know. This is Columbus bought. Enslavement. Reduce the animals. Yeah, Columbus Day. Why would you celebrate that? Columbus worse than Hitler. Can you imagine the Jews somehow? Hitler Day? Because they have no respect for you. They still consider you ignorant. They still consider you not ignorant, but animal. It's in the Constitution. Why did they remove it? Even Obama, why did he remove it? Because they have no respect for you, because they ain't no way to respect Columbus. If that's what he bought, destruction and genocide, ain't no way to respect Jefferson and Washington. They say, well, because they put people in jail for doing what they was doing for less. They execute people for doing it. They say, oh, that was a man of their times. They can call it shit anything they want to call it. Right? You call consequence what you want to call it. You call consequence dog shit, it don't matter. You call whatever you want, we don't care what you call it. All we need to make sure that you get it. Care what you call it. Columbus Day. Okay. And you ignorant people. I was going to show you. This is just lying. Sick lying dog devil. So listen to this, brothers and sisters. Just listen to this. I hope it plays. I'm not sure.
School boards, for some reason, are pumping an awful lot of money into promoting race hate.
Doesn't have to.
Actual education is being neglected. A lot of schools are not meeting basic proficiency standards. At a recent meeting of the Wake County School Board in the state of North Carolina, one pastor let his school board know how he feels about this. Watch.
78% of 3rd through 8th grade black students are not proficient in math in Wake County. We're wasting taxpayer dollars putting money towards this diversity office that's not benefiting those who need it the most. And as we talk about inclusion and making sure that the trans student feels comfortable and the queer student feels comfortable, what does that have to do with reading, writing, and arithmetic? As we are teaching cultural Marxism and grooming children to be the next pervert, we are damaging our kids in this public school system, and it needs to stop.
The man you just saw is John Amanchaku. He is a pastor, as we said. He's a father as well. He joins us tonight.
This is dog.
For coming on. It's striking to hear someone point out that the point
always showing their teeth. You notice that?
And they're not doing it.
Look, master, look my teeth.
To say that.
Well, it's a shame that I have to say it, but I'm going to say it. As a father of 3 beautiful black children and as a youth pastor, it's my role to speak up for children of all colors and creeds. There's a new God in the land. This God's name is diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Demon dog.
This God forces you to bow to it, and if you don't support this God, they will cancel you and label you as a homophobe, as a bigot, or even as a white supremacist. The indoctrination in the public school system must end. I'm prepared to go to every
See, the devil pays close attention when he's saying close attention. Make sure you say the right thing.
For children who are being indoctrinated. Wake County has gone woke. And as we approach this upcoming election, we need people in office who are not trying to groom our children, indoctrinate our children into critical race theory, intersectionality, and all of these woke ideologies, but we need to get back
critical
to
race theory,
writing, and arithmetic.
So many pastors in white and black churches gone along with this anti-Christian program, and it's a tragedy to watch. Why have you not? Why are you different?
Because I've read the Bible. You know, from Genesis to Revelations, we have a clear viewpoint on what God expects of pastors. But the modern day pastor today is more like a wimp and less like a watchman. The Bible says that the blood will be on the hands of the watchman or the pastor, the prophet or the preacher if they fail to expose the truth of what's going on. This is why I wrote my new book that was released called Erased, Uncovering the Lies of Critical Race Theory. And
what's that name, man?
I'm doing a national book tour.
Man, Chuck Whoa, whatever. What the hell does that mean?
What's going on, and
well, he doesn't have a slave master's name. I give him that.
To destroy our children and to destroy the black community through critical race theory and abortion.
Christian leaders need to stand up and say that, and they do, and they're not. And I'm grateful to see that you are. Pastor, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Pastor Amanchu, thank you. So we have
hold on, brothers and sisters. Let me make some comments here. Okay. See, that situation there, that's the problem. Now, if you look at his name, he could be a Levite. Because see, he's saying all the things that blacks are against, like homosexuality, kind of stuff, right? Because demons wouldn't be against that. Right? But don't teach my children CRT, because remember, they didn't go through what we went through. He come over here on the visa, he go, so they don't care a damn, they didn't give a damn about us either. Because they was part of us being over here. And that's the problem. Because our people mixing with our people, so we don't know who's who. So he could be a demon, or he could also be a Levite. See what I mean by the Levites? Because we might end up going to war with the Levites in the end. So it's very hard to trust them. He could be a Levite with that name. Because he has the message all mixed up. Because he got a black message mixed up with anti-black message. Actually, don't talk about CRT. Good. Why would he care? Why would she talk about CRT? They didn't go through that. They don't hear about that. They still white folks too, don't they? So, so that's why it's confusing. See, a demon, he's a Levite. He ain't one of us, that's for sure. He got the name, African name. And he's talking African stuff about, all this transgender stuff. But I don't hear about no CRT and talking bad about white people and that kind of stuff. We gotta get rid of them, bro. So we gotta clean our house. It says someone will clean his house thoroughly. He will clean it thoroughly. Clean out all that riffraff. See? That's the confusion. He's a demon. He's not one of the tribe of Shabbat, that's for sure. Right? But he could be a Levite too. We gotta clean the house clearly. Clean it. See? So? Clean the house clearly. That's 104,000. That's why he still represents gold. You ever notice that? They still represent gold. The rest is not represented as gold anymore. Then the wise represents as black, but not gold, because silver can be black. But the rest is all tarnished. Okay. So, here you go, brothers and sisters, right? See, so that's just somebody got this, right? We got this awful job to do. Let's go on. Oops, going the wrong way. Okay, this one's going to take a little while, but just so I'm going to take a break while it's going on.
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. Happy Columbus Day. Remember Columbus Day? That's the day that we celebrate the discovery of the New World by Christopher Columbus and all that happened after, which was the creation of the freest and most humane society in the history of man. We're still celebrating it. But we're also assessing what happened to that society because it is changing. So we want to tell you the story of a man called Paul Vaughan, leading off to
See what I mean? And everything he said was total bullshit. Because I have no respect for you. I have no respect for what you went through because you're animals. You don't worry about no dogs. Like, oh man, dog got beat up or whatever. What's your animals them? They have no respect for the stuff you went through. Because you've been saying stuff like that. But you don't read between the lines. You still love them and everything else, kiss their ass. You know, if he did that, if he downplayed the so-called Holocaust like that, he'd be off the air in an instant. If he downplayed that little 6-year or 4-year thing they went through, he'd be downplayed. It's like, oh man, oh yeah, Germany, yeah, they went through a little thing, man. But you know, hey, they great and they great. A thing. You remember that Omar? What's her name is? That representative out of Missouri, where it is, right? Minneapolis. Right? She said 911 was a thing, like something happened. And they jumped her like crazy. A thing? You got 911 a thing? Something happened? And yet, because it didn't mean anything that they did to us. Because we're animals. Why do you respect it? He just totally disrespected all the shit that we went through when he is. He totally disrespected. Oh, and see, what the results of that is the greatest nation of human rights. What? He tell you Jefferson Washington was great people? Because they tell you they don't give a F about you. You ain't shit. You ain't no effing animal. And you don't even understand it. And you got the so-called, or the Democrat, they would hate Tucker. But the other ones are saying the same thing too. That's what they believe. They believe they did anything to you. You ham. You're supposed to be raped and beaten and everything else. You animal. It's in that Constitution. What you got to do? They put in that damn Constitution. That's the foundation. America, the law foundation of the land. That you 3/5 human, that means you're an animal. They haven't taken it out half day. So your willful ignorance is going to cost you. Because everything I'm telling you is absolute truth. I ain't making up anything. Oh man, he's just hateful. He's not a good Christian. He don't want to forgive and all that. Is God forgiving? They attribute all this stuff to God by forgiving. What? He says he comes to destroy. He said, wrath is mine. He said, forgiveness is mine. Wrath is mine. So when you have wrath for, vengeance is mine. When you get vengeance for, that's not forgiveness. It's destruction. Time, pressing, and trouble. So I would judge those people that did all these things to you. But they dismiss it. Because in their mind, you're nothing. You're something, you're a pet they got to tolerate. That's why when the family comes, they have no problem eating you. And they're going to do it. What's going on, brothers and sisters? Oops, going the wrong way again. Okay, this one take a while here. Oops.
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. In July of 1993, radio station in Kigali, Rwanda, began openly attacking one of the country's main ethnic groups, the Tutsis. The radio station was called RT LM, but many remember it as simply Hutu Radio because the audience was primarily Hutu. According to Hutu Radio, Tutsi people were responsible for virtually every bad thing that ever happened in Rwanda. Tutsis had way too much money. They had way too much power. Tutsis were way too privileged. They were greedy. They were bigoted. They were racists. They were dangerous. Everything about Tutsiness was repulsive. For the most part, actual Tutsis in Rwanda ignored all of this. Hutu Radio was not aimed at them. But then, in July of 1994, just 9 months after
Let's take about five minutes, maybe 7 minutes, bro.
Began in Rwanda.
I'll be back.
More than 500,000 Tutsis were murdered, in many cases by Hutus whose rage had been stoked to violence by RTLM's broadcasts. Entire Tutsi families were dragged from their homes and hacked to death with machetes. Hundreds of thousands of women were raped. The world watched in horror as it happened, but did nothing to intervene. Instead, our leaders told us at the time, the genocide in Rwanda would live forever as a lesson to the rest of us about the capacity for evil that lurks inside every human heart and the dangers of reducing our neighbors to the sum total of their ethnicity. They're individuals, not ethnic groups. Bill Clinton gave an eloquent speech, actually, on the subject in Kigali back in 1998. Look it up and ask yourself, as you read it, if any Democratic Party official could today say those same words. It's hard to imagine, given what plays on a loop on that party's cable news arm, MSNBC. Have you watched MSNBC lately? Likely you haven't. Like the Tutsis, you're not the target audience, but you should tune in sometime. It's remarkable. Given that opposing racism is America's national religion, it may surprise you to learn that open race hate forms much of the substance of that channel's programming. And when we say race hate, we're not referring to the subtle coded variety. You want border security? Giving your kids piano lessons? You like Shakespeare? You believe in the SAT? You must be a racist. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the kind of race hate you cannot mistake for anything else, the kind where people just come out and announce, I hate this race of people, and here's why I do. It's hard to believe that anything like that is happening right now on American television, but it is, out in the open. And the most amazing and the most creepy part of all is that no one is saying anything about it. It's all but ignored. And honestly, we had no idea it was going on either until we started getting texts from people. Are you watching this? Can you believe this? So we tuned in. Apparently on the left, what you're about to see is considered completely normal, even good. And that should worry you deeply. You don't want to live in Rwanda. But on MSNBC, they're already there. Now, you probably knew about Joy Reid, the race lady, who's been fixated on race hate for years now. But MSNBC has a new host, someone called Tiffany Cross, hosts a show called The Cross Connection. Here's a selection.
Many of us have seen the dangers when powerful white people decide they want something, they annex it. And they've never had a problem replacing the people who stand in their way.
We see American white people are going crazy. They're resorting to violence.
This is literally what conservative white folks do when they don't get their way. They turn violent.
White people deputizing themselves in some position of authority to have jurisdiction over their life when they need to mind their blanking business.
I don't think it's our responsibility to be tasked with destroying and dismantling the racial oppression that's against us. That's just saying we're more at fault than the white people who constructed this system and the white people who continue to practice institutional racism.
A majority of white people do not support policies that would unpack and unroll and reform this system of justice. This is what they want. Matt Gaetz is giving the white folks what they want.
White replacement can strangle culture. So yes, we should all be concerned about white replacement. It is, after all, a very threat to our survival here.
Is there anything worse than white people? They're violent. They're heartless. They're cruel. They're deranged. They're secretive. They're dishonest. In fact, as you heard Tiffany Cross say, white people are a mortal danger to you and your loved ones. They threaten your life. Are they poisoning the wells? Are they baking bread with the blood of your children? If not, according to Tiffany Cross and MSNBC, they're fully capable of doing those things. They've certainly done worse. This is Hutu Radio. But it's not an independent radio station in an African country. It's part of one of the biggest news organizations in the world, part of the biggest telecommunications company in the United States, Comcast, which owns it. So you have to ask yourself, what does Comcast board think of this? Comcast board is mostly white people who, according to the channel they own, decided they wanted something, then they annexed it. White people who steal because they're white. White people who could, quote, turn to violence when they don't get their way. White people are going crazy, endangering their communities. You have to ask yourself, why are they putting this on the air? Why are they allowing this? This is not a policy debate. These are open attacks on people, on Americans, on the basis purely of their race. And that's just a selection. We could go on and on and on. Are they aware that this is happening? Perhaps they're not. We weren't, to be fair. But it is happening day after day after day after day. And at a certain point, you have to ask yourself, if it continues and nobody stops it, do they agree with it? Maybe they do. And just in case you think that we are taking Tiffany Cross out of context and pulling the worst quotes from a out of context segment to make her seem crazy and racist, here's more. Here's Tiffany Cross on MSNBC.
Look, a lot of folks in that Capitol insurrection, some of these folks were white women. And I know we're talking a lot about Oath Keepers and Proud Boys, but I do think that some of the white women who have adopted this ideology, is America ready to face the fact that some of those folks look like people they have elevated and put on a pedestal of being untouchable? What do you say about this wing of white women who have been radicalized and are enablers to this very dangerous domestic terrorism movement that we've seen increase quite rapidly?
So it's not just whites, it's white women. Their women are bad too. Women, of course, are the key to reproducing the white race, which is clearly a threat, as she says again and again, to you and your family. They're dangerous. They want to hurt you. Now, don't be fooled by the fact that Tiffany Cross can barely speak a coherent sentence. She's a communications major, apparently, according to the internet. That didn't work. But the gist of it is very, very clear. White women are dangerous because white people are dangerous. They are, by the nature of their DNA, potential domestic terrorists. Now, you could play the game, well, if any other group were spoken about this way, this would be shut down immediately. And of course, that's completely true. There's no other group in America you could talk about the way that Tiffany Cross and Joy Reid and other anchors in MSNBC talk about white people. But you don't even have to play that game. It doesn't matter what the color is. It's always wrong to reduce people to the color of their skin, to their melanin content, to their DNA. And it's even worse to attack them on the basis of that. And in fact, it's the basis of violence, actual violence, actual violence. But Tiffany Cross can't be criticized because she's oppressed. That's the key. Watch this.
What we didn't see were enough voices willing to point out the deeper, festering rot that's plagued this nation since it was born. People who neither discovered nor built this land have been led to believe that America is theirs and theirs alone. Will this democracy survive? Well, a Yahoo News poll says no. But perhaps when you build a nation on stolen land with stolen labor, it was never going to be a republic we could keep. And so here we are, celebrating the birth of a nation, independence for white men.
Okay, once again, calling out a specific race by name. Now, you have to wonder about the other anchors on MSNBC, some of whom are that race. Do they notice this? Do they know what's happening on their channel? Are they okay with this? What do you think happens if we continue to talk this way? You may not watch that channel, but some people do. What does this look like in a year or 5 years or 10 years? What kind of country do you live in? Well, a country at war with itself, race war. This woman, Tiffany Cross, whose clips you've been watching, is so deranged by a racialist worldview that she believes all people of one color are oppressed by all people of another color. And to prove it, she says, even NFL players, some of the richest people in our society, some of the most celebrated, the most famous, the most privileged, even they can't escape the all-pervasive hatred of diabolical whites. Watch this.
I gotta say, Mike, the optics just look bad. To see all these black men crashing into each other with a bunch of white owners, white coaches, and the complete disregard of black bodies and black life. I mean, it just represents a larger issue.
So, I mean, look, the average salary for an NFL player is more than $2 million a year. 60% of NFL players are African American. Some positions like cornerback, virtually all the first string players are black. So, okay, we don't have a problem with that. Most people don't have a problem with that. But if you look at that picture, say, this is white supremacy, what are you really saying? You're saying that anybody involved in the sport who is white defiles the sport because whiteness is itself inherently corrupting. White people are so evil that their mere presence in a sport that is overwhelmingly African American and from which African American individuals are benefiting is enough to destroy the whole operation. Is there whites involved? What kind of talk is that? Well, it's genocidal talk, actually. Not an overstatement. That's exactly what it is. So again, you have to wonder, what does Comcast board think of this? It's not a rhetorical question, really, now that we're talking about sports, because Comcast also owns an NHL team, a hockey team, the Philadelphia Flyers. And maybe not surprisingly, the NHL just published its first ever diversity report. And according to that report, we have a huge problem with hockey. And the problem is there are too many white people in hockey. Now, why is that a problem? No one actually explains. It doesn't need to be explained because it's just prima facie obvious. Got a lot of white people. That's inherently bad because white people are inherently bad. Again, you want to live in a country where powerful people talk this way? What do you think it looks like in 5 years? The head of the NHL's, quote, social impact division said, quote, we have a lot of work to do. Again, how does Comcast board feel about this? Will the board undergo some kind of forced diversification? What about the NBA and the NFL? Admittedly, we're not following all of this. But as Joy Reid and Tiffany Cross tell us, that's probably because we're white and too stupid to understand.
I think for Kamala Harris, she's had like the triple problem of being a woman, and so people not being willing to respect her the way that they would respect a male vice president, of being black, which we already know that what that carries with it is the anti-blackness comes, with the package, and then also being vice president at a time that is really, really difficult.
Joy and I talk about this all the time. Madam Vice President, and you know this, Charlamagne, she black, okay?
Yes.
She went to Howard, she AK, and when she talks to you, it is, she sounds
She's so
like
regular.
me. She's so regular and
really
approachable, and it's unfortunate that more people don't see that. And there's also just the dumbing down of the American election.
We could go on and on. We could read excerpts from Tiffany Cross's book, which are brimming with racial hostility. We could play you a million clips from Joy Reid, which are exactly the same, filled with open racial hostility. But you get the point. And if you don't believe us, just go ahead and tune into MSNBC. But it's not really about that channel or those hosts. It's about a society that thinks that's okay. Where it's not really about diversity, it's about hating other people on the basis of their race. And it's a little bewildering to the rest of us who thought the whole point of America was that we're aspiring to a country where we are judged by the content of our character, not the color of our skin. And all of a sudden, racial reductionists don't simply have the floor and the platform on cable news shows, but have apparently the unquestioning support of the biggest telecommunications company in the United States. What does that say about the country and its leadership? Jason Whitlock is the host of Fearless. He joins us to respond tonight. Jason Whitlock, thanks so much for coming on. This seems, and I'll just be honest, as noted.
Now, no doubt about what this is. It's cold, stone cold demon.
About race, and I'm definitely not interested in watching that channel.
Stone cold demon.
You think, how can this be happening and nobody says anything?
Tucker, it's pervasive
First class
across.
Not a Negro, but
it's
no, take the butt off.
World. It's one of the reasons why
Stone Cold Demon.
I left ESPN and Fox Sports, to be quite frank with you, and wanted to do my own independent thing because of the way that we talk about race in the corporate media. It's very unhealthy. It's very toxic. It's intended. People have been bought and paid for to undermine this country. Tiffany Cross, Joy Reid, any of the other people doing this type stuff, they know exactly what they're doing. They're doing exactly what they're told to do. They're planting the seeds to make people believe that the American experiment is a failure and the Constitution needs to be rewritten.
That's right.
And they're using race as their disguise. That's the entire agenda here. They're not hiding it. America is a failure in their mind because the outcomes don't meet their demographic criteria or quotas. And so all of this is to bait all of us into a race war and distract us from an attack on America, its Constitution, and primarily it's an attack on God. People get upset that, oh, like Christian nationalism. This country was founded on biblical principles. Period. End of story. This is a biblical experiment, the United States of America, and it has been a success. The atheists, the Marxists, the people hostile to God want to end this biblical experiment, and they're using race to tear it down. That's the nuclear weapon. Race, 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 race. We haven't treated race right. We got to write a new constitution. This whole thing's been a failure. It's a smokescreen. It's an attack on God. Those of us that are believers, regardless of our surface level differences of skin tone, if you're a believer, you got to wake up and look at what they're doing. They're attacking God. You think they're attacking you. They're not. They're attacking God, and they're attacking a country that was founded on biblical principles. Is this country perfect? No way. But it's better than anything else. It's the only biblical experiment that's ever been tried with a nation. The results are better than anybody else has ever gotten. What the steps we've taken in this country to correct our racial problems are steps other countries haven't come close to. This is satanic what they're doing, and they've been paid to do it.
I agree with that completely. And I also worry that once you unleash these forces, boy, you can't control them. This could go in very ugly directions. I think it's reckless, really reckless. Jason Welk, I appreciate your coming on and for that very clear explanation of what's true. I want to bring you now an update that we think is important on a story we told you about last night. The CDC advisory immunization practices was on the verge of adding a COVID vaccine to childhood immunization.
So it's, hold on, Bill. This is, Have a technical difficulty here. Give me a second. Okay. What's going on here? Anyways. Nuts. Okay, but I still have a little technical difficulty here. Give me a couple of minutes here. What's going on here? Oh. Okay, so not that problem. Okay, on this one here. Oh boy. Anyway, I'm gonna talk while I'm trying to correct this problem, bro. This is what he's attacking that sister. That sister's waking up. And she's telling the truth. And he wants to get her fired. That's what it's all about. Because he don't want any truth about what happened. They want to snuff out the truth. His listeners want to deceive themselves into believing all kinds of BS that's not true. What's going on here, brothers and sisters? Okay, let's do it this way. They want to deceive themselves into what's going on here. Have a little technical difficulty about this. I don't know why this is happening. So he's trying to get her fired. That's the bottom line there, bro. So he's trying to get her fired. Let's see what this here. And she's telling the truth. He's just lying. He's the racist. He's going to try and make sure it didn't happen. She's telling the truth what was happening. Let's say she's like a gear, hasn't made a full turn yet. What's going on here, bro? This is like, oh. That's what's happening, brothers and sisters. And so she's telling the truth. He won't hear it. And the bottom is he's trying to get her fired. He ain't going to say it that way. Because they don't want freedom of speech. They want to just tell lies like he's doing. He's a total stone cold liar. She's the one that's telling the truth. But he's pretending that he's the truth sayer. She's just some crazy, racist, lying fool. Right? Which you know is not true. I'm still having a little technical difficulty here, brothers and sisters, trying to work this out. So I got a new system here, brothers and sisters. Like, and it's got bugs in it. Okay, there you go. Finally. Okay, there you go. Finally. Oh, oops. We're almost finished anyway, brothers and sisters, so. Okay. So, and that demon there, so that's the problem, brothers. He's stone cold demon. He thinks that way. You can't blame for that because he's a devil in black skin. He thinks that way. And this is what he's saying. See? But see, we get the hit for that. Because the world sees that. And those are the only type of people that put on TV. Just those type of people. Because they don't put people like myself or anyone that speaks truth. They had that problem with Malcolm X, right? Before he went crazy. And he wiped the floor with him. They said, I made that mistake again. So anybody that talks true, right, on our behalf, they're not getting anywhere near TV. All you see in public life is demons. I say you might see some Levites like that clown we saw earlier. He could be a demon, but that's all you're going to see. You don't see anybody that speaks the truth. And he has a total hit job in that sister. And he was totally lying all the way. And so it's waking up, like I said, that's like gear train. So our people's, slowly coming around to a full circle. Once that happens, it's too late for them. They do everything to try to snuff it out. If you listen carefully to what he says, everything he says is a total lie. Or she's this, she's that, she's a racist, all that kind of stuff, right? Everything she said, most of it was true. And he's a liar. But see, he's out there, that's their attempt trying to get into the thought atmosphere. They can't do it. It's total liar. Total liar. And then you want to beat up on your sister. Because I said his objective is to get her fired, get off here. They don't want to hear that stuff. Well, what y'all did? How evil y'all are? This Christianity? All this stuff is done behind the cross. They made a shithole out of Europe. That's why they come to their balance of stuff. And now they turn their world into a shithole. And the world, global warming, who did all that stuff? And now they're trying to make bugs and stuff you eat. And you see, that sounds like it might work. No, it don't work. Because those bugs and all that kind of thing, they have a certain purpose in the environment. And if you start eating them things, right, that means you're going to throw something off down there. That's going to have an impact on everything else. It's like carcasses, right? Where you got certain animals, buzzes, and certain bugs that eat that stuff. It's good for them. If you don't, it's just sit there forever. Clean that burn up. That's a whole nother issue altogether. All those things have a place. So it's like, oh no, we're gonna get bugs now. What's wrong with the cattle? They had plenty of cattle over here, buffalo, everything, and got rid of all that. So now you got rid of real meat. Now you're gonna go to insect meat, which is gonna destroy the environment at a very fundamental level. Because every time they pull, it's like pickup sticks. You pull one stick to one whole thing collapses. They don't understand this biological system. So they're screwing around with it. Now we get bugs. You bugs, right? And you understand, okay, what's going to happen to the environment? What's going to happen to your DNA? Because now you eating this stuff, right? How you know stuff is safe for your DNA? How you know 50 years from now, right? You'll be walking around with antennas. And y'all believe it, y'all buying that stuff. Y'all buying that stuff. Okay? I said, willful ignorance is the price to pay for it. I think that's pretty much it, bro. Let's see what's going on, and we're going to close this out. See? Because that's it, she's waking up. A lot of sisters in that situation, a lot of sisters, brothers waking up. See? That's it. You want to jump up out of bed? No. It's slowly coming around that gear until you make a full circle. See, the other gears turn, trying to make that gear make a full circle. Let's make a full circle. They wake up. They woke. And when they wake up, it's all over. The guys are woke. They're resting. Who be able to stand? Who be able to stand? Yes, Lord. Who will be able to stand? Yes, Lord. Yeah, that's Lord. Yeah. Yeah. We can put an end to these. I'm having a guys. Oh man. Boy. Okay, let's see. Nope, go the other way. Oh, am I going the right way here? Okay, here we go. Oh, got it going the wrong way. I got some new mouses here. I'm trying to get used to them. Okay, hold on. What happened? Okay. Famine, death, starvation will close out, brothers and sisters. Right? Now this is what I want you to know. Now just pay attention. This is going to close out. I'm going to keep on, because this is on a doorstep. Then I said, hear now, O leaders of Jacob, you rulers of the house of Israel, should you not know justice? Should not know justice means you think you're going to escape justice? That's what it means. Read carefully. It means you're going to think you're going to escape justice? Just for what? See? It's not us. This is Farrakhan. Well, we're wicked. We're sinful. That's why we went through it. That's why he doesn't talk the reward part in the Abrahamic covenant. Because if we're sinful, we ain't got no reward. We've been punished. You don't agree reward for being punished. That's his message. That's why he didn't have a covenant about a servitude affliction, but he wants to tell you we deserve it. That's why he don't read the reward part. He said we deserve it. We was being punished because we're sinful and wicked. And that's what he told Moses. That's what Aaron told Moses when he showed up. Right? He says, you know, these people are wicked and sinful because he's a coward. He's no damn good. He's the one that's wicked and sinful. That's why God blew his ass up. His enemies blow his ass up. Put the pastor's ass and blow it up. That's a curse. How the hell are you going to tell me that's some kind of elevation? You get your ass blown up, you lose your manhood and everything. We wasn't a man to begin with, so he didn't need any balls because he never had it. He was a coward to begin with. He's a stone cold coward. He never suffered anything. All he does is take your money and put sisters on the street doing fundraising. He's a stone cold coward. He let Wallace just butt break him. That's what he did. I was there. Wallace was totally out of the nation. That's Muhammad put him out. He was out. He was barred. So how do you get control of it? When Farrakhan was supposed to be a top dog. How do you get control? Because Wallace came in and kicked Farrakhan out, bent him over, and did him. And Farrakhan, yeah, man, that's good. Keep on doing it. That's exactly what happened. And then if you got everything thrown on the side like a two-bit whore, then he run back to Master. Please, Master, let me get on the stage and shake my ass. That's what happened. Now tell me I'm alive, Farrakhan. You let Wild's butt break you. And if he butt broke you, right, he gave you nothing. He paid you nothing, he give you a kiss. Then he threw you on the side on the ditch, like two-bit whore, and you run back to Master. Please let me get on the stage. And let me shake my ass again. And you supposed to be anointed by God? If God anointed something like you, then what the hell is this? What kind of God is that? You're effing coward. You're punk. You're a coward. And you're a lying and hypocrite. On top of all that, you're just a stone-cold devil. Your father's a devil. I was there. I know what you did. You tell these lies to other people. I was there. I witnessed. Bad mouth and mess and everything else. They use you like a two-bit whore. That's why they get rid of Malcolm. When he went there by mouth, he had some balls. That's why they get rid of him. Because look, if Elijah Muhammad left, there's no way the world could butt broke him like they butt broke you. They knew it. Had to get rid of him. They know they had a real problem with you because you've been over the minute. Been over, oh yeah, how far? Been over far, how far? See? Because now you've been over massa. That's who you are. And tell me I'm lying. Or you bring your dogs, send your dogs after me. I'm protected. So send your dogs after me, see what happens. Hope you send them over here. They talking about us, the leaders. We're not led. Right? We don't have leaders. We're not ruled by ourselves. It's the devil's ruling us. So that's what they're talking to. Right? Here now, O leaders of Jacob, you rulers of the house of Israel, they're ruling us. So it's not talking to us, it's talking to them. And so you ever see, now you think you get judged for what you did to see what they're doing and what they plan to do. Let's look at that. You hate good and love evil, ain't that? That's devils. Isn't that what Elijah Muhammad said? Devils. Elijah Muhammad said, Muhammad said they're devils. So that's what he talked to. You hate good and love evil. The Farrakhan said that's us. We're wicked and everything. No, it's them. That's what we identify, make sure you know who they are, the devils. You hate good and love evil. The Bible says none of them are righteous, not one. They're evil by nature. They hate good and love evil. That's them. They've done evil there all over the planet. They got a history of evil. Making misery, shed blood, stealing, killing, destroying. They came out of Europe, that's how they came out. Killing, stealing, and destroying. How do you get mad? How do you get Canada? How do you get New Zealand? How do you get all these places? Australia. Don't go give me that bullshit, right? You tear the skin from my people and strip the flesh from their bones. You did that back in the fields, but you're going to do it now. This is telling what's about to happen. Because family is coming. And it's coming fast and furious. Oh, make sure you get this right, brothers and sisters. You eat the flesh, eat. You eat the flesh of my people after stripping off their skin and breaking their bone. So you're doing it for the purpose of eating. Eating. Why? You chop them up like flesh for the cookie pot, like meat in the cauldron. Because there's no food, but you're 3/5 of a human, so that means you're edible. Because they don't have any food, so they'll break all their food. Famine's coming now, so you're going to be a food. You're going to be a food. And that's why demons go to demon world, because the mouth will turn against them because they're black. You 3/5 human. That's why you had a demon war. 5 month demon war. You know, everybody ever told you about demon war. You never knew what was coming. I told you that George Floyd thing was the sealed 5-month plague. And that thing lasts exactly 5 months. I said it before, and it happened exactly like I said. At 5 months, it was over. This is the unsealed one. Because that's a flee. Because you're going to be eaten. Because they're going to break there. It's not going to be any food, no fish, no nothing. And so you're going to be on the menu. So it's telling you right here. The ones you love, those good devils. See? All the flavor. See? Come on, Red Falcon. Let me give you a hug. I love you. I love the way you taste. You're a little tough. Right? See? But you ain't got no ass. You'll bug your ass up. But you know, we can use some of that muscle. But you ain't got none of that either, do you? See? Then they will cry out to the Lord. But they will not answer them. See that? After eating you all up. Right? Then they'll, oh, God, save America, help us. But he will not answer them. At the time he will hide his faith from them. Because evil they have done, they're the ones doing evil. Not us. Be consumed uselessly, for your land will not yield its produce, and trees of the land will not yield the fruit. No fruit, no fruit. There'll be no vegetables, no fruit, anything. Won't be any food. You're going to be the food. This is days away, bro, so it's not months. Come as thief of the night. I'm reading 9 here. I will make them eat the flesh of their sons and daughters. They eat the flesh of their sons and daughters, and they'll eat one another's flesh. Then they eat one another's flesh, right? And the siege, because there'll be a siege, because China and India, that's the goat that's coming from the west. If you're not touching land, they're going to lay siege to America. America not be invaded. They're going to lay siege to America, and no food coming in or out. And there'll be no food wherever. And that's the siege you're talking about. And the stress inflicted on them by the enemies who seek their lives. It'll be great distress. No food. Totally broken. So then they're going to start eating you. Let's go further. Make sure we get this right in sequence here. And then I'm going to close out. Let's get the right sequence. See? Those killed by the sword are better off than those who die of famine, racked with hunger. That means and they waste away for lack of food from the field. That means the base of your food is the farms. See? So any food that you're going to be eating was in the wild, they're going to be gone. Because that's the source of food. And so that's going to be broken. For lack of food from the field, there's no farms not going to produce anything. Just told you that no fruits and vegetables, right? With their own hands, compassionate women have cooked their own children. With their own hands, compassionate women, that's always dainty ones, they think they're pretty, right? Have cooked their own children who became their food when my people were destroyed. Put our secrets. That means after they finish eating up all the rest they could find, then they start eating their own children. Okay? We can go further. They use their neighbors, all that kind of stuff. It tells you that. And when they flee, so don't pack, don't do anything. Just get, because it could be your next door neighbor, not the police and all. I mean, they got time to get there, right? It could be your next door neighbor, one you're sleeping with. See? I think that's it, brothers and sisters. That's it. I'm going to leave it there. I got this little allergy, and I've been fighting it. Okay? I hope you understand, brothers and sisters. I talked about a lot of things here. Brothers and sisters. It's coming. I try to make things clear and clear as we got closer in. I don't think it makes much clearer now because this day's away. It's going to turn this country upside down. And your willful ignorance, you're going to pay the consequence. That's tribulation. You don't want to be here doing that. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. Can't say I even telling you. 24/7. Sick, no sick, whatever. But Master Muhammad is about to break the pride of their power. That's the Middle East. That's the foundation of all this bullshit, this realities, this Christianity, this ideology, this philosophy. It's the foundation. Because false Israel is supposed to be the premier tribe. See, they don't tell you that kind of, you got this church of tomorrow, they preaching, but the point is that when you read, they claim they're us. That means they're the tribe of Judah, which is the top tribe. Read your angel Revelation, top tribe. That's where Jew come from. The top tribe. They're the ones that stayed with God and everything else. But the other 11 tribes, that's the other Europeans, they fell away. So that's the premier tribe. That's the example. That's the standard. So you look at them, see? And so they're close to God. That means if they're God people, that means we're God. They're God people. Because if the false Israel over there, if they're God's people, remember, they're the top tribe, and the other tribes are God's people too. So long as they hold them up, they're going to say, see, we're God's people. We're Abraham. We're good people. Those niggas, they're ham. They're supposed to be punished. They're supposed to be enslaved. That's the whole foundation of this bullshit. See? And false Israel is the cornerstone of it. It's the cornerstone of it. And then they also, they in God's home now. They got control of God's land. How can, isn't that clear enough? We're God's people. We have control of the Holy Land, Jerusalem, Arabia, because who's got the power in there? Who's controlling it? America, Britain, France, Israel. They control the Middle East. So they got Jerusalem, they got who control Arabia and all that. So it means they control. Well, actually, that's why Obama has been lobbying after them, because they was allowing them to come in Mecca, and that guy said, "You don't let them come in Mecca. You let them devils come in Mecca." That's why they fought with the House of Saud, who are Hindus to begin with. So they all. That's why I said the war broke out in heaven. Why I said because they're in heaven. They're sent to heaven, and they claim they're God. The Most High, they're Judah, and so he breaks that. All her house comes coming down. The cornerstone breaks that whole house coming down. That means they ain't that. They ain't God's people. They're wicked devils. They're kicked out of heaven. False Israel is going down. The cornerstone is broken, and that. Bam! That closes the hole, that breaks the pride and power, and all bets off at that point. All bets off at that point. Because then you have to be, and it says they will gather together and make war against God. You're God. So they're going to eat you, destroy you. Because they know they're in war with God. It's clear now. Because they know God's coming to destroy them, not to save them. So what would you do? That's what it is. That's why you have no idea what's coming to you, brothers and sisters. And Muhammad told, I'm going to say this in closing, a brother asked him during the theology time, brother, he was a young brother, right? I mean, I was a young brother too at the time. I was in my 20s. I was on security. And the Holy Apostle, I'd be glad when we go to war and take it. I said, hey, brother, don't play for that day. Because he said, you don't know what you're up against. Now, Message Black, those books out there at the time. So it wasn't in there because he told his brother, you don't know what you're up against. You have no idea what you're up against. I'm telling you right now, you don't know what you're up against. I told you a lot, but still I haven't told you. I can't. I'm telling them too. None of you know what you're up against. None of you. Even those that I raised as prophets. They don't know. They don't really understand what they're up against. They understand. Not that I haven't gave more information they need, but they ain't getting it. Everybody's gonna get it in a minute. Willful ignorance. See? But he breaks the pride and power. Whole house comes all coming down. And this house coming down, they're going to go crazy and try to tear up everything. But they're going to eat you. Because the house come down, no food, anything. If what you ask yourself, if there's no food in America, no food whatsoever on the horizon, no food for the president, no food for anybody, what you think America's be like for you? 3/5 human. And these people can't survive 5 hours without eating something. What do you think is going to happen to you? 3/5 human. It's in the Constitution. That means you're edible. Who's going to fight against that? It says they will be buying and selling you. I'm going to leave it there, brothers and sisters. You're going to see in a couple more days. See? And you're going to spit on Farrakhan. And you're going to run over here, but you're not going to be that welcome. See? Because the demons are going to be fighting for their lives because they're going to be eaten too. That's what the demon war is all about. Hope you understand, bro. So I'm going to leave it there. Assalamu alaikum.